Hello, my name's Antonio, and this is going to be my first YouTube video. Now you might be asking yourselves what type of channel this is going to be. Well, after a lot of consideration of me wanting to make a channel, sorry about that, I decided that the thing that most appeals to me, something really important in life right now, and something I think I can build a channel out of, is fitness. Now when you look at me, you're probably thinking, what the fuck does he know about fitness? Like, he's chubby. But over the last couple, 3 years, I've come to learn a lot about the subject. Now this fitness channel, I want to help you guys accomplish your fitness goals. But what's gonna make me stand out from other fitness channels, basically all of them, is that I'm not starting this channel down the road when I'm like super buff, six-pack shredded, and I'm not gonna be those like skinny guys that got really buff. Like, I'm starting this channel basically in the middle, because I've already done quite a lot to get to where I am, and I'm starting it here. So basically what I was saying, I'm starting it right now. I wish I would have started sooner, but I didn't get to it for many reasons. But the good thing, I'm starting it now when I'm got a lot of work done, but I still have a lot of work to go. And I feel you guys are going to be with me during this journey to reach my goal, which I'll go over what exactly my goal is in a bit. But basically, I'm not going to be like back to what I was saying. What my goal is. My goal right now is, well, it's to man my short-term, long-term goals. I think everyone should. Short-term goals, so I don't think they're that important. I can mention them in some other time. But my long-term goal, ever since I was a little kid, this isn't something I just recently started. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to have an aesthetic body, like really aesthetic, with a good foundation muscle. Like, I don't want to be like bodybuilder, fucking huge, that, and then like super low fat that looks disgusting. I don't know why people do that, but I want to have like from anywhere from like 10 to 13% body fat with a pretty good, decent size muscle, more than average. Right now, like, I'm 6'1", and I'm currently weighing at 207, but not all of that is muscle, obviously. I think if I were to get rid of all the excess fat, I weigh in from anywhere to 175 to 187. Let's put it there, because I'm 6'1", so that adds on a lot of pounds. And then just my body type, I think it's called, don't quote me on this, endomorph. If I got it wrong, I'll put an annotation correcting it. But basically, my body's wide. It's not like narrow. So that adds on the pounds. But I want to be at a lean 200 someday. And that's basically my goal. And I want to make this channel not only to help you guys, many other people I know that struggle, but I want to make it to basically see my progress. I want to look back one day at this channel and see where I started and where I ended and where I am at that point in time. I want to be able to look back at it and help people along the way, because I've had those struggles. I know a lot of people have those struggles, and I think this is a great idea to benefit me and benefit others. And now my introduction video, basically just gonna give you a foundation of me, who I am, and all that stuff. I'm gonna try and summarize this as much as possible, but I'll make talk too long. So basically, I'm 6'1", weighing at 207, like I said, and my life started ever since I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to be like aesthetic. I was never like those people that were like, oh yeah, I look normal, I'm fine with that. Like, I never wanted to be skinny, I wanted to be aesthetic. And I wasn't old. I'm gonna get to this in a bit, but basically, ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be the best at everything I do: school, sport, and right now fitness, because it became something really important these last few 3 years, couples too. But basically, since I was a kid, I've always been that had a lot of motivation. But that motivation usually comes out when like I'm either competing with someone or people don't believe I can do something. And then when that happens, I just go like full work from like the get-go, and nothing stops me till I reach my goal. But for reasons, family stuff that happened this last few years, I had some struggles with being at that mindset. But recently, life's good. Like, I've been getting it back. I'm getting my progress back, and everything's going good. So I decided perfect time to start this channel. Back to the main point, the beginning. Little kid, wanted to be aesthetic. As a kid, I wasn't fat at all. Like, I was skinny. That pictures me as a kid. If I scan one, I'll put it right there. But basically, little twig kid. But I think what happened was that I started snacking a lot of food and not exercising at all. Like, I wasn't at a young age. I wasn't involved in sports. I didn't go out a lot. Like, I would just watch TV, couch potato kid. And then how my parents ate food. My parents aren't fat, but they're not chubby. They're like skinny fat. Put it there. But my family's always eating a lot of food, and I think the combination of that, as I started eating more and more as I grew up, eating late at night, plus the no exercise at all, the pounds started to add on. And at first, it wasn't that bad, but it started getting more and more. I remember in second grade when I was 8 years old, I weighed in at like 120. I know 12-year-olds now that weigh 120, so at the age of 8, I was weighing in at 120, the same as some 12-year-olds. But like I said, I'm 6'1" right now. I didn't have like a crazy growth spurt. Ever since I was a kid, I was the tallest kid in my class, so the height added on some pounds. And like, I never really looked like, you can consider me fat and chubby, but I wasn't like obese, because I think the height basically made the fat be spread across a bigger body. So I was chubby, you could say that, but I wasn't like fat. But still, I didn't like how my body was, and I really didn't care about it too much. Like, I knew I wanted something better, but I was, at that point, I had like an attitude about it, like, Sorry if I'm not looking at the camera that much. But yeah, fast forward. Let's go to when I was 10. I started like going to the park a lot, and at the time, like, we're going, playing soccer, running around, and you could say I got in shape. I really didn't lose any weight. As I'll get to later in this story, I never really lost weight up to a certain point, and it was fun. Like, I like being outside. But it would all go away the second I would go back to school, because this took place in the summer. And then that was basically me tinkering with health for the first time around the age 10. Now let's go to 13. At the age of 13, I was probably weighing like 120 something. Like, I kept adding pounds and pounds. The taller I got, I added also more fat. And at that time, I remember I had a doctor's appointment, and basically the doctor said that I needed to lose weight. And my mom was like flipping out, like, she was yelling at me, like, you need to lose weight, like this here. She would like limit my food intake. It was crazy. Sorry about that, I heard something. But like she told me, like she was worried when Hispanic moms, like they be yelling at you. But the doctor said I needed to lose weight because of my asthma. It was an unhealthy weight, and basically ever since, like, I don't know, call it genetics, but I've never really had problems with my blood pressure, my cholesterol, none of that shit. Heart problems, never, even when I was fat. I never had that, so I never really worried about my weight. But the doctor just said, get the weight down even though you don't have those problems, because you could develop them later on. And then, basically, I also had asthma at the time. My BMI was high. The fuck? And then he basically lose weight. My mom was like flipping the fuck out. She wouldn't let me eat like foods for a while. And then I told her, like, if I wanted to drop the weight, I could drop the weight. It's not hard. Sorry about that little pop. And then she was like, yeah, sure, you couldn't drop the weight. And I was like, yeah, fuck, I'm gonna do it. And for a bit, like, I just started getting out there, like playing in my backyard with a ball, running around, getting heart rate, running like little laps. And it was cool. I started doing it at 13. I also started doing a lot of sit-ups. I would do like sets of 50, like 4 times every day. And like, what happened was I still had fat on my stomach, but my stomach, like the abs underneath, got like really hard. And like, I don't know, I just like punctured myself at that point. Like, it was fun. Like, even though I had fat on it, like I would punch myself and be like, oh shit, I didn't feel that. And yeah, but basically that's all that happened there. And then when I turned 14, went to high school, and that kind of just flew out the window. My whole getting in shape thing, that didn't last. The cardio didn't last. I hated cardio growing up. My dad, he always wanted to go on runs, but I didn't, because I used to hate cardio. Like, because like I was fat. Like, it was like a hassle. You didn't feel good. So I didn't do it, fell off of that. I still did abs now and then during freshman year, but that was about it. And then my age 15 came, and that's when everything changed. How did it change? You might call me stupid because of this, dumb, I don't know, call me what you want, but what happened when I was 15 changed my life for the better. It made me healthier. It made me more positive. It made me a better version of myself. What happened might sound dumb, but growing up, I've never watched anime. Mexican moms, my mom was like, that shit's like the devil. But because some like other crazy Hispanic ladies told her. But later, like, she didn't care because I was like, Mom, you tripping, those ladies are crazy, don't listen to them. And she's like, yeah, you're right. But basically, age 15, I found Dragon Ball Z. It sounds stupid, right? But no. Just seeing Goku, I don't know how to explain it. I fell in love with that show. I remember the first time it came on, I was like, oh, fucking Dragon Ball Z. Fuck that shit. And I was gonna change it, but I couldn't find the controller. And I ended up falling like in love with the theme song. Like, I started with Kai. And people are gonna say like, oh, how the fuck you started with Kai? That thing sucks. I started with Kai, but then I watched the original series because I fell in love with it and I wanted more and more of it. Basically, I started with Kai. I finished up till Soul Saga because that was the only thing they had at that point. And then over the course of like, seriously, a week, I watched the whole original series, 292 episodes, I believe. Because like, I would wake up and start watching it. Every episode was like 22 minutes on the side I was getting it. So I wake up, start watch it throughout the day, watch it till I fall asleep. I was in love with it. Goku made me feel powerful. Goku made me feel like I could push myself to do anything I wanted. It was a great feeling. I wanted to be a Saiyan. I wanted to be a Super Saiyan. I fell in love with that show. I learned everything about it. I watched all the movies. Everything you wanted to know about it, I knew it. I would read the wiki pages all the time about like the show and trivia, everything. I could quote the show. I could reenact whole parts, whole episodes, quote by quote. But basically, yeah, Goku. Goku made me feel like I could become more than human. So I started. training in a figure. Kind of not. I had no weights, but I started with what I could. How did I start? I didn't have dumbbells, so when I was 15, I filled my backpack with a bunch of textbooks and curled that shit. I only had one backpack, so I would take turns, like first 20 on this one, 20 on that one, 20 on this one, go up to like 100, 200, 300. Like I kept working myself up because I started getting fit. And then growing up, never ever could I do a push-up. I didn't have enough muscle when I was skinny, and then I got too fat that I didn't have enough muscle to pick my body up. I could never do a push-up. Never. But eventually, with me working out, me trying so much, lowering myself still body, doing all the YouTube tutorials, I still remember the day I did my first push-up. I was the happiest person ever. I felt like I was ascending to a Super Saiyan, even though it was one push-up, like literally one push-up, and then I couldn't do another one because I was that tired. But I kept working at it, and before I knew it, I could do like 3 push-ups without stopping, which seems like nothing. But I was fat, I had no muscle. Like this was a big milestone for me. And then I could do 5, and then I could do 10, and then I could do 20, and then I could do 50 without stopping. I could do 60. I started over the course of me being 15. I got to being able to do like close, like 60, 65 without stopping. And then I would do them every day. Push-ups, and abdominals, curls, and then the shoulder, their lateral raises with the backpack. That's all I could do because I wasn't in weight training in high school yet. Because like that didn't appeal to me when I was a freshman and a sophomore. I was like, wait, fuck that shit. Like I didn't like PE freshman year. Well, the games were fun. I didn't like running the laps. And then basically kept working at it. I got to the point like when I was 15, I was doing like sets of 20 up to 300 push-ups a day, daily. This shit was daily. Working out daily in my room, once, twice, 3 times a day. My mom, that is like, well, you're getting obsessed with this. You need to stop working out so much. Like in the summer when like I would like turn off the AC and just work out in my room all day, like I would be sweating buckets and buckets. Like I sweat a lot naturally, plus the intense heat. I was like drenching my shirt. And basically, for the first time ever, I dropped some weight. Before I started working out, I was weighing at like 234. After working out, like I got down to 220. I think I got lower than that, but kind of started slacking before I actually checked my weight because I didn't have a weight. I had to go to the doctor and check my weight. I now have a scale so I can weigh myself, but back then I didn't. So 228, I was probably like, I want to say like 224 before I started kind of slacking on it. But yeah, when I went to the doctor and I saw my weight dropped, and the doctor's like, oh yeah, you lost some weight, that's really good. And he was like, yeah, keep at it. And then like, how many tests are you working out? I'm like, I'm working out daily, like shit. I was happy, like really happy. Again, took me back to the whole Goku thing. I felt like a Super Saiyan. I felt like I could conquer everything, even though it wasn't that much at the time. But basically, that happened. Next, this was during the summer when I started working out and watching Red Bull. See, junior year rolls around, fall of junior year, I took weight training because I wanted to get bigger, more muscle, get fit. And this is when I found out that I still didn't like cardio because I was still fat. But I figured out during this year of junior year of me weight training, I really do love exercising. Just the type of exercise that I like doing is mostly weight training. I could seriously do that for days. I'm never like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym and like lift weights. Like I'm always like, yeah, let's go to the gym, lift weights. And I remember when I started, I walked in there like I just dropped some weight. I can do like up to 300 push-ups. I was like walked in there like I was top shit. And I remember the first thing we did was like some sit-ups, one like piece of cake. But Coach Mac, the weight training teacher, he made us do it with like weight on them, like 45 pounds. And then he made us do 50 multiple times. and my abs were hurting. I wanted to throw up. First day of that class, I walked out of the classroom and I was like, fuck that shit. I'm dropping that class. I'm out. Cause he said, he's like, you think this is tough? Wait till we're doing sets of 100, like multiple times. So I was like, fuck that shit. I'm not gonna be here for that. But kind of just, I didn't drop it because I didn't want to go to counseling office, wait in line. It was the beginning of the year, so I didn't drop it. I ended up staying. Kept working. Felt like shit. I remember the first leg day. I was like stiff walking everywhere because my legs were like destroyed. But I kept with it. And there was this other kid who I think I owe a lot to him. But he was same age as me, but he'd been in weight training for like 2 years at that point. He was shorter than me, but he had his body type wasn't like those body types that are meant to build muscle. But he wasn't like overly buff. He was like an average guy, but he could lift. He could squat like 315. He could bench like a good amount. He loved power cleaning. Like he would power clean all the time. Sorry about that. I don't have enough storage. But like I was saying, I owe a lot to him. I think that because he never really let me like be like the other people who were like new to weight training that were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put like this super little weight and like do it and not actually gain muscle because I'm trying to get out of this class ECA. He held me to a high standard. He always put on what he considered a challenge for himself. But for me, that was just turning out, that was a crazy amount. I could not do that weight. But he didn't let me put any lower. My body got stronger and stronger, getting used to his weight, to the point where I became as strong as him. And I think to a certain degree, I surpassed him. But by that point in time, the semester ended and he switched out of the class to take health. But I had weight training the full year. So I stayed, he left. He still had personal fitness. That's basically like, kind of like weight training, but you also get to focus on what you want to do, not just weight training. But he still stayed fit, but I couldn't, like, we didn't have the class anymore, so we couldn't like compare. But this is what was crazy. Like, people still say like I'm bullshitting them when I tell them this, but I think, like I say, genetics. But the intense training I had with him, combined with me eating everything, in this point in time I was like 134. No, I was 128 now that I remember. Yeah, because when I started the year I was 128. I went from 128 to 250, but not all of that. So I'm pretty sure I gained some fat, but I'm pretty sure I gained a lot of muscle, because over the course of, I'm not kidding you, 4 to 5 months. I want to say 4 months, but let's just add up to 5 so people don't say I'm bullshit. But on the 4th month mark, I was feeling good because I started putting on muscle like insanely fast. I remember when we had our first like PR day, that was at the end of the first quarter, and we had another PR at the end of the semester. So the first time we did our PRs, my bench was like, I don't know what my bench was. I think it was like 145. Yeah, it wasn't good. And then my squat, like I've always had big legs, but my squat, like I was squatting like, I think my PR for squat was like 185. And like I remember when I put like 2 plates on, like I just collapsed down, like I could not lift that. And like this other kid who was like a skinny fuck, but he'd been weight training since he was a freshman, he was like, his PR that day was like 315. He's like, you gotta be kidding me, you can't lift shit. And I was like, fuck you. But basically, first PR, I was upset. I was like, I'm weak as fuck. And after that point, I got like really serious about it. And by the next quarter, the end of the semester, the day, like it was his last day of class for this kid I was weight training, the guy who pushed me a lot. Shit was insane. My PR for bench was like 195. My squat PR went from 185 to 405 pounds. I went all the way down. I did everything right, It was 405 pounds, same as what he got. He squatted that day, 405 pounds. That was his new PR too. And we were like, oh, what the fuck? We're like, what's up? Like, happy as can be. And I remember people, like, the other kid, because it was like, there was a group of 3 we trained. And it was him, me, and this other guy. He kind of lagged behind in his weight training, but he was making gains. I remember we were all so excited that that me and him hit that weight. And like, just how weight felt at that point. Like, I was strong, like 250 pounds. I'm gonna say, like, people are probably gonna say like bullshit, unrealistic. I'm gonna say I gained like anywhere from like 12 to 15 pounds of muscle. Also take in consideration that this was my first time weight training. Progress is really fast at the beginning, but I'm gonna say I gained anywhere from like 12 to 15 pounds of muscle over the course of like 5-6 months, and then some fat there. Basically, that happened. I was feeling strong. I remember I could squat like 225, like it was air. Like I would sit down on the, like all the way down, and then I could get back up like it was nothing. People were like calling me a show off because of how easily I did it. I was squatting 295 like it was nothing, and like I didn't start feeling anything till at least 315, and like I was strong. That's when like Coach Mack, he was the weight training teacher, and the head football coach, he was like, I want you to play football next year. And then and then we had like Dawn Patrol, like football players know what that is. It's like weight training early ass in the morning, like 6:30. And basically during that, he also introduced me to the wrestling coaches. Like, next year I also want you to do wrestling and like track and field, like, because like I said, I always want to be the best. And the coaches took in consideration, like they saw that like I've always pushed myself. So I haven't been like those lazy kids like that like take off sets when like the teacher isn't looking. I've always pushed myself to the point where my body has nothing left to give. And Coach Mag always called me tough. I was mentally tough, he said, and it felt good. I had some family, not problems. My family's always been good, but some stuff that went down, and it was good to have like that male role model in life. It helped a lot. And Goku was still there, and he was making me feel like I was gonna ascend to the next level, and everything was going great. Till last summer, the family stuff happened. I lost a lot of motivation because of that. I fell into depression. I was going to football camp, but I stopped because like it was bad. There was days I would go entire days without seeing another human being. It was bad. I didn't like it. I stopped going to football camp, but I remember the first day of school, I went straight to Coach Max. Like, hey, I want to play football. I'm sorry I didn't come, but I want to play football, and he let me. And yeah, I played football. It was fun, bonding experience. I loved it. And then it ended. And then wrestling came around. I remember he wanted me to do wrestling too. And the head wrestling coach knew me at that point. Coach Mack introduced me. He was like, this kid's tough. You need him on the wrestling team. And I remember how like this kid I played football with, had Dawn Patrol with, yeah, like he did wrestling every year. Like, I remember like during football camp, during football season, he would say like, oh, I'm eating a lot, because he was chubby like me, but he would always be like, oh, I'm eating a lot right now, because once wrestling season rolls around, I don't eat shit. Like, he didn't eat anything, and I remember 2 weeks into wrestling season, he looked thin as fuck. I remember I saw him like walking around and doing, like, what the fuck happened to him? And yeah, I joined wrestling, and at the beginning, I was just training hard. I wasn't really focused on weight loss. At that point, I was like 245. I remember it was 245 when I weighed, but I wanted to drop down like everyone else was doing, but I love food. Couldn't do that. But yeah, wrestling, and then I was training hard. All the wrestling coaches, when I say all of them were like, this kid is tough, because I've always pushed myself to the limit. as I'll show you guys in future videos. But basically, this kid's tough. And then it wasn't until this freshman who was like probably an inch taller than me. I'm 6'1", this kid was like 6'2", Hispanic as well. He wanted to take a varsity spot, and he had a big build. He was like built like me. And Coach Mack was always like comparing us. And later, like in the spring after wrestling, we ended up developing like this friendly, like rival situation. And I liked it because, like I said, I benefit the most when I'm competing with someone, and we both acquire some gains from this. But back to wrestling season. The person that was going to get the varsity spot was going to be the one that the best, and the one that got to under 220 first. That was 245. He was around that same weight too. And I remember I was like, fuck that shit. I'm not letting him take me. I'm the best. I'm a Saiyan. I cut calories drastically. Unhealthy. I know now. But this is what's gonna make me a better fitness person, a better fitness channel, because I've been through the mistakes. I've done the mistakes. I fixed the mistakes. I know not to make the mistakes anymore. Basically, I cut calories to the degree, like, I got a calorie counter, yeah, it's lucid, and basically, I like 2017 starting off calories to intake a day, but I was only intaking like 500, and then I had weight training in the mornings, which later became into, I wasn't weight training because of reasons I'll get to, and then I had wrestling condition after school every day, 2.5 hours, and then I would get home and go on a bike ride for an hour, like intense training. Like I was burning like well over 1,200 to like 1,700 calories every day. Even on the weekends, I was going out and working out myself and eating so little, the weight disappeared. I got to the point where I was losing like 2 pounds a day. And I would eat nothing but 500 calories, and then if I was hungry, I would just drink a shit ton of water. That was probably the only healthy thing I was doing, drinking a lot of water. Like I was drinking anywhere from 1 gallon to 2 gallons a day. And then the weight came off, like shit. Like I remember it was like my first milestone was like 235. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Then I remember when I got to like 230 and then like 229, I was like considering the 220s. I was so happy. And then I finally got to 220. I was happy as can be. And eventually I wanted to go lower. I wanted to be thin. I've never been so thin ever since I was a kid. And for the first time in my life, it felt close, like I could reach it. And I kept pushing myself. And this is when I started getting really unhealthy. Like, my calorie intake had been like super low for about a month and a half. I dropped 25 pounds in 2 weeks when I first started it. And like, because of such a low calorie intake and such low carbs, during weight training class, like, I wasn't really weight training anymore because I didn't have the energy anymore. Like, I was fatigued. My first classes of the day, I was just like head down, complaining about how hungry and tired I was. And what happens when you don't eat, you don't weight train, you lose your muscle. I dropped the weight, but a lot of that weight was muscle. I remember trying to squat, like, at some point in January, like well into wrestling season. I couldn't squat 135, one plate. I couldn't go all the way down because I felt like I was gonna fall. From going from 405 to not being able to squat a plate, like, it was sad. But I didn't care about it at the time. I just wanted to be thin. I wasn't healthy. My friends were just like in class, they were like, can someone get him a fucking boom bar? He won't stop complaining about how hungry he is. And I'm like, I can't eat, guys. I remember when I got to 198, first time I've been in the 190s, I was like, yes. And then after that, wrestling was over, I started eating good. And I was like, those people that are like, oh, I can eat again, blah, blah, blah. Like, I kept a good nutrition. Like, I went back to eating, but I never stopped working out. I've always, after junior year, I fell in love with weight training. I've weight trained every day. 5 to 6 days, I take a rest day now and then. No, yeah, Sunday's mostly my rest day, and that's about it. Basically, I've kept working out, and my bench started getting better, but my legs really didn't up until recently because like I just hated trying to squat because it felt bad that I couldn't even squat a plate. And at one point in my fitness journey, like I was lifting 225, like it was seriously like I stood up like it was air. So I didn't really focus on that because it just made me feel bad how much muscle I lost. But then I had weight training with a freshman who tried to take my varsity spot. We ended up becoming pretty. We became friends. And we started weight training. We pushed ourselves. Coach Max saw this. Like, I would have loved you to have you both as freshmen because you guys would have made the football team. Great pushing each other to the limit. And I started getting my bench up. Like, I was doing good. And it probably got up to like 205, 210, but I was adding some muscle too. And then summer started, I graduated, and I started going to the gym because I wanted to get my muscle back. That was my priority now, get my muscle back. And then later on, I wanted to get shredded because at that point, when you still can see abs, I want to be able to have abs. Sorry, this is taking forever, but it's a long story. So I started weight training again, like really intensely. I was eating more, and I gained muscle back. Like, I got my bench, I got my squat. Right now I'm squatting around like 250. Still not close to what I was doing, but it's getting up there. Like, I can go all the way down now. My form's it's good again. I'm making gains. Like, I love where I'm at right now, and I love where I'm going. And basically, I gained muscle back, but there was a little road bump, let's say. I was just eating whatever I wanted, and like, I gained muscle, but the pounds of fat started adding, and it got to the point where like you could see my love handles again, and like you couldn't see that when I was like 200. Yeah, I didn't like it. I remember at that time I was on vacation and we were in we're in Florida, and I weighed in and I was like 221, and I was like fucking mad. Like, I felt bad. I was like, why did I get fat? I wanted to drop weight, so I began dropping the weight. And I really couldn't, like, prior to that, I wanted to drop weight when I was like at 215, but I couldn't stay on a cut anymore. Like, I was on it for like a day or two, and I would go back to eating because after that whole wrestling thing, like, I just couldn't put myself through that again. It was one of the hardest things I had to do, not eating for like a month and a half. But basically, I struggled with taking off the weight again up until like, I'm gonna say like 2-3 weeks ago. I stayed consistent with my cutting. I was eating around 2,000 calories. I'm never going back to cutting the way I did during wrestling. Like, do not do that. It's unhealthy. And you lose all your muscle, so there's no point of it, because even though you get skinny, you're not going to look good because you have no muscle to make yourself look toned. So it's pointless. So yeah, and then I started cutting, but there was a problem with my cutting. Like, I lost like 5 pounds. I was down to 215, and I felt myself, like, you know when you're cutting and you feel thin? I was feeling like that before. After a while, I started feeling like bloated, and I wasn't dropping any more weight. I don't know what was up, but I think it was just the types of food I was eating that made me feel bloated, and I had like a lot of malnutrition because I was doing a caloric deficit. But then I switched up my dieting to like what I think is a far superior way to cut, where I'm still eating like anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day, but I spread them out. Like, I don't eat till noon, but I eat something small if I'm like really starving, because I don't starve myself anymore. And then I stop eating at 6 p.m. And if I'm really hungry, I may have a glass of milk before I go to bed, and drink lots of water. That's important. And yeah, that plus I'm weight training and doing cardio like crazy. Like, I'm eating 2,500 calories, but I'm like burning off on a daily basis anywhere from 1,200 to 1,700. On Saturdays, where I can weight train longer and have nothing to do, I burn like well over 2,000 calories in the course of like a 4 or 5 hour workout. So my stomach, like in the mornings, it stays hungry for longer, so it burns off fat. I'm still weighing a caloric deficit even though I'm eating, so my muscles have fuel, but I'm still burning fat because basically I'm burning more than I'm eating. And like this, I've really enjoyed it because I'm down to 207. Last time I was this weight, I had no muscle. My muscle was gone. Right now, I have a good foundation of muscle, and the fat is still coming up. Like right now, I can squat 205, I can bench 200, and my muscle has not been lost. So right now, in theory, I have less fat than I did in wrestling, because when I was 207, it was 207 with fat. Right now, I'm 207, but not all of it is fat. A lot of it is muscle. Not a lot of it. I got a good foundation of muscle, but that'll be your opinion. So right now, I'm running a mile like in 7 minutes, 6 minutes. I'm weight training a lot. My muscle has not been lost. I'm still dropping weight. I'm in a good place. So I'm starting this channel right now, and you guys are gonna go with me on this journey. Drop this weight. Get aesthetic. Get lean. Get shredded. Everything. That was basically just a short summary of my life, my fitness journey. I learned a lot of things along the way that I'm going to share with you guys. Hopefully get you to your fitness goals. And basically, this was my introduction video. Now you know my intro. Now you can go more in depth in the chapters.
Because the scene just seems so much nicer way out